What if I told you there's a complete system of medicine, a science of life, that's been around for over 3,000 years? You know, long before we had modern hospitals and pharmacies, this ancient approach looked at health in a totally different way. Not just as being free from sickness, but as this vibrant, balanced state of being. Today, we're going to dive right into Ayurveda. So what is this 3,000-year-old science of life? Well, it all started in ancient India, and it offers a profoundly different way of looking at our bodies, our health, and really our place in the entire universe. It's a complete system for diagnosis, for healing, and medicine that's been tested and refined for millennia.
The word Ayurveda itself gives us a huge clue. If you break it down, it comes from two Sanskrit words, Ayu, which means life, and Veda, which means knowledge. So it literally translates to the knowledge of life. But here's the core idea, the thing that really sets it apart. This isn't just about curing you when you're sick. Its number one goal is to help you maintain your health. Actually, treating you is only its secondary job.
So how did this ancient system even develop such a deep understanding of the body and health? Let's take a look at its doctrine and the unique ways it has of perceiving the world.
Yeah, this wasn't just some abstract philosophy that someone dreamed up. Rogaa, who is one of the most important figures in Ayurveda's history, described it as a doctrine that was evolved over a period of time, fully tested. He even called it the empirical science of life. So that frames it not as something based on blind faith, but on actual observation and experience, built up over thousands and thousands of years.
So, how did this empirical science gather its knowledge? Well, it uses three unique parameters. First, you've got pratyaksha, or direct perception. That's basically what you can see, hear, and feel for yourself. Then there's anumana, which is inference, like seeing smoke on a distant hill and inferring that there has to be a fire. And finally, uptopadesha, which is the wisdom passed down from trusted experts and ancient texts. It's this really powerful mix of your own experience, logic, and knowledge that has stood the test of time.
And that foundation leads us to what is, honestly, one of the most beautiful and central ideas in all of Ayurveda, this deep, unbreakable connection that each of us has with the entire universe.
At the very heart of this connection is a simple but really profound idea. Man is considered to be a microcosm of the macrocosm. It sounds complicated, but all it really means is that we are all miniature universes. This principle suggests that everything that exists out there in the vast cosmos, all the elements and all the forces, also exists right inside each of us. The very same building blocks that make up stars and mountains also make up you.
So what are these building blocks? Ayurveda identifies 5 universal elements. We have Prithvi, which is the earth element, the thing that gives us substance. Ap, which is water, and that represents cohesion. Agni, the fire element, which is all about transformation. Vayu, or air, which governs all movement. And finally, Akash, which is space or ether. It's the container for everything else. Every single thing in nature, including our own bodies, is just a unique combination of these 5 elements.
Okay, so if we're made of these 5 elements, how do they actually function inside of us? Well, this brings us to the body's 3 fundamental energies. You could almost call it the blueprint of life.
These energies are called doshas, and there are 3 of them. First, we have Vata. It controls all the movements in your body, like your circulation and even your breathing. You can think of it as your body's movement system. Then there's Pitta, which manages your metabolism and digestion. It's like the body's metabolic engine. And finally, Kapha, which provides structure and lubrication, and it monitors your growth. It's the structural framework, kind of like the glue that holds everything together.
And here it is, the absolute core of Ayurvedic health, harmony. When your unique combination of Vata, Pitta, and Kapha is in balance, when they're synchronized and working together, your body is healthy. It's only when this delicate balance gets thrown off that problems start to show up.
So these 3 doshas, they're responsible for building and maintaining what Ayurveda calls the 7 fundamental body tissues, or dhatus. These are seen as the core indicators of life itself. They are rasa, our plasma and lymph, rakta, our blood, mamasa, our muscle tissue, meta, our fat or adipose tissue, Ausadhi, which is our bones, majja, our marrow and nerve tissue, and finally sukla, our reproductive elements. A healthy balance of doshas directly leads to the health of all these vital tissues.
So that's the ideal state, right? But what happens when things go wrong? Let's look at the root of disease from the Ayurvedic perspective, which is all about what happens when that internal harmony gets lost.
In Ayurveda, disease is called Rogaa,
and it's defined as a state caused by Dhatuvaismayaa, which just means elemental imbalance. Now notice the huge difference in how this is framed. Disease isn't seen as something that attacks you from the outside, but as an internal state of disharmony that comes from within.
Which, of course, leads to the next big question. If imbalance is the problem, then what causes this imbalance in the first place?
Ayurveda groups the causes into 4 main syndromes. You've got Agwantija, which covers external things, like an accident or an injury. Then Saririka, which refers to physical diseases that develop inside the body. We also have Manasika, which points to psychological causes, things like stress, grief, or emotional turmoil. And finally, Swabhavika, which covers natural causes, like old age and the unavoidable cycles of life.
But while you have those 4 broad categories, the ancient text suggests that most disease really stems from 2 main pathways. The first one is an imbalanced diet, which directly messes with our physical elements. And the second is what the texts call moral transgressions, which really speaks to the powerful connection between our mental and emotional states, like chronic stress or anger, and our actual physical health.
Okay, so if disease is just an imbalance, how do you get back to a state of harmony? Let's explore the Ayurvedic path to health, because it's all about figuring out the problem and restoring that crucial balance.
The methods for treatment are incredibly diverse because they're designed to address the whole person. They can include things like mantra, which is the use of healing sounds or incantations, mani, which involves specific drugs or even energized stones, Prabhava, which is the powerful positive influence of just the practitioner's presence, and Ausadhi, which is what we might normally think of as medicine, remedies that come from plants, animals, and minerals.
But remember where we started. Treatment is only the secondary goal. Ayurveda's true focus goes way beyond just treating symptoms. It's all about providing proactive lifestyle recommendations to stop that imbalance from ever happening in the first place.
This whole proactive approach is captured perfectly in 5 key recommendations for a healthy life. It starts with Jivdasha, which means knowing your purpose in life. That then informs Jivacharya, maintaining a balanced mind. From there, you learn Hitta Hityam, basically the do's and don'ts that support your well-being. This includes Ahar Vivechana, understanding the right foods for your body. And all of this leads to Raga Pratirodha Paya, which is the ability to anticipate and prevent disease before it even starts.
And that brings us full circle. This ancient system offers this incredible, holistic view of health that connects our bodies to our minds and our minds to the entire universe. It prioritizes prevention over cure and inner balance over just fighting symptoms. And it leaves us with a really compelling question to think about. In our modern world, what can we still learn from a 3,000-year-old science of life?